abstract acrylic, it's frozen.
This frozen painting is from a Disney series I'm doing for my niece's bedrooms. If you'd like to see some of the other princess pictures so far, I'll give you a glimpse later on in the video. After trying out a few different abstract styles for painting these Disney princess pictures, I decided to draw them from the top of the torso and chin down to the hip to get a sense of the shape of the dress and the main colours. I started by blocking in the darker blue shading on Elsa's top and then painted white for the highlights before blending the paint together to make some nice shadows. I used ultramarine blue for the top and more of a cerulean blue mix for the cape section and the skirt. For Elsa's skin, I mixed yellow ochre, rose and white. Her hair was a little tougher to get the right colour for. I mixed up yellow ochre, a tiny bit of ultramarine blue for shading, a pinch of black and then a lot of white. I had her hair sweeping down instead of her typical ponytail plait.
I usually paint portraits, it's what I like actually painting the most, and I'll have close-ups of just a face. I didn't want the focus to be the face, I wanted the focus to be really on the colours and how they work together. I didn't want to draw Elsa's head, but I also didn't want her to look headless, so I've swept the hair across just to avoid having a face. At the same time, your brain isn't too confused by her not having a face, because there's hair there in front of it, and hair grows on your head.
I painted an acrylic gradient for the background, working from dark blue ultramarine at the bottom and moving up towards a lighter blue at the top. I added some warmth to the paint in Elsa's hair by using burnt umber for the shadows. I kept the paint nice and thick here and used a flat brush, first with white splodges and then darker ones to create a shimmery sequin type effect on her top and cape.
Painting in the texture and the sparkle on Elsa's dress is really fun. Just taking blobs of white and different shades of blue and just blobbing them almost in squares across the costume is really fun.
I thinned down the white paint a lot here and painted in splatters in the background so that it would look like snowflakes or stars. Then I painted in a large snowflake to add a bit more interest. As with all of these Disney princess canvases, I outlined everything in Pro Markers, avoiding black where I could, and instead outlining in darker colours to each section. Once finished, I poured on a small amount of varnish and then blended it over the canvas to create a nice even finish, moving quickly and trying not to overblend the varnish as I could potentially smudge the Pro Markers.
If you're painting in gouache or watercolour or water-soluble paint in general, it's always good to varnish because it protects the painting if any moisture gets onto it from colours running or anything happening. If you've painted in acrylic or oils, it's not necessary to varnish for that reason because the paint will hold. You can't water down acrylic paint that's dried because it dries almost like a plastic. But varnishing does give it a real shine, and especially if you've watered down the paint in sections, what can happen with oil paint and sometimes acrylic to an extent is that some parts will be shinier than others. So when you varnish, it gives everything the same level of gloss. So that's it, I'm all finished with Frozen and Elsa in abstract acrylic paint. If you enjoyed the video, I'm actually painting these as a set for my niece's bedrooms. So if you want to check them out, then I've got 4 so far, which is Snow White, Little Mermaid and Rapunzel and Frozen. And if you want to check out the others, you can find them on the channel.